Hello and welcome. I am Scarperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the Rebirth server. We are with Shrike, our mutation stalker, who's level 47, 2.4 million XP to go to get to level 48, and there's only 3 levels to go until we're at the level cap. We have over 31 million influence, and I want to point out that just since we bought our enhancements a couple of beads ago, like 100,000 experience, about a million, well, not about 3/4 of a million experience ago, we've gained like 1.3 million influence. So you get a lot of influence at this level. One of the things I wanted to look over is the pillar here. There's a huge difference between this one and the one on the Homecoming server. I haven't actually looked at it on the Rebirth server. Maybe this is, I guess, the way it was in live. I thought that a lot of the classical story arcs, like the Scroll of Tieleku and the Wheel of Destruction, that I like to play, weren't available because I'm pretty sure on the Homecoming server they're not. This is a very different mission list than you get. On the Homecoming server, there's a whole bunch of Praetorian crap in here, like this Night Ward Part 1, 2, 3, and 4. But a lot of the other story arcs don't seem to be there unless maybe I'm missing them somehow. I'm not really sure. It's if you've done them, there's a yellow star next to them, and I've done a whole bunch of them with Silver Phoenix. But it's also the case that I feel like they're showing me stuff here, like Bonefire, that you don't see as much on Homecoming. So I'm going to have to check into it. But somebody had said that we can do older story arcs by doing Ouroboros, and we certainly can. But at this point, I'm just moving forward with this character since we've done nearly all of them with Silver Phoenix, and you can watch those. I'm not allowed to post any new content with the Silver Phoenix character, but you can see all the old stuff up to like level 47 or 8 with that character on that series. So I'm not going to go back and redo those old story arcs that we've missed with Shrike. We also got a whole bunch of villain story arcs we're going to do with Nightmare Lass once we start using her as a character. And let me change up my inspirations here so I get the ones I want. It's not really crucial at this point, but may as well. Oh gosh, I grabbed the wrong one. I meant to click that. There we go. We have tons of influence, so I'm not worried about wasting a little bit. And so now we're going to go back to our story arc with Harvey Mailer, and he says, "You remember the mental monocle that Percy Winkley gave you, the one that helped you find my missing reporter Ellie? Well, I hung on to it. I thought it might come in handy someday. Anyway, I just spoke to Penelope Yin. She thinks she can modify it for you. We know that Vanessa DeVore found some way to shield her memories from you. Take the monocle to Penelope Yin, and she will be able to modify it. So let's go to Penelope Yin and ask her to do it." Yeah, to be honest, in terms of the Ouroboros, I don't actually use it that much. I've done it a little bit with Silver Phoenix. I haven't done it at all with this character, as you guys have seen, because we've got plenty of story arcs to do. But you can always go there and do ones that you've missed if they're available. And I had thought on Homecoming a lot of them weren't available, but they all appear to be available here. So I stand corrected. Okay, so she says, is this the monocle? How cool. It uses a lens of celestial quartz. I think it's supposed to be celestial quartz to let you see into the minds of those nearby. It's kind of weak, but I think it can boost the power. There, now the monocle should allow you to read the minds much more easily than before. When you think of a particular object, you can cause those nearby to think of that subject as well. Alright, so let us go back to Harvey Mailer on the phone. And he says, great, now that Penelope Yin has worked her special talents, we should be able to learn a lot more about Giovanna Scaldi. So he says, alright, Shrike, Penelope Yin's done her thing, and that mental monocle is good to go. Once you are on the psychic plane, you should let it should let you read Vanessa's thoughts. We need to find out more about this strange Giovanna Scaldi. Okay. So, let's go ahead and take the mission. And we're going to go to Paris Park, so I will just go ahead and use the mission transporter, since that'll get us there really quickly. Not waste any time. By the way, one thing you can notice with physical perfection slotted and everything, and all of our power slotted, we now are getting 30 hit points a second back, which is over 2.5% of our health every second without doing anything. It's just passive. That is awesome. That means if somebody's attacking us once every 3 seconds with a 100 hit point attack, they can't overwhelm our recovery. Alright, so let's do what I always do, which is find the edges of the zone, and then we will go on the inside and look for where the actual memories are. I believe the memories in this case are captives. They look like people. I don't think they're glowies. So it's going to be a little harder to find them because obviously glowies are easier to find because they make noise and they flash, whereas captives are usually just being detained by 2 NPCs. Alright, so this is this big island outdoor zone. And now I'm going to use some of my intuition and kind of look where you tend to find hostages. And this is one of these cases, and I've said this before, where you need a search image, right? You need to know, you need to find one of the things to find out what they look like and kind of where they're positioned, whether it's an innocent or whether it's a glowy. You need to find one, and then once you've found a single one, you know what you're looking for, and then you can find the rest of them much more easily because you have that search image. But I don't remember, having done this mission, I don't remember exactly where the memories are or what form they take. I, again, think they're people, but I'm not sure. Let's try over here. I could swear there wasn't anything over here the last time, but it might be. No, not there. It definitely is helpful having stealth, and I will miss it. And you know, a couple times I've played Silver Phoenix lately, and I've definitely missed it that I haven't had stealth to use to zoom around missions and find things. Especially when you have a big mission like this and it would take forever to feed everybody. And as Silver Phoenix, I basically have to. You know, I've often wondered in some of these missions if they actually ever keyed things to not spawn until you had defeated a certain percentage of the map. But I don't think they ever actually did that. I'm sure Statesman would have loved that, but I'm not sure if they had the tech to do it. So I have no idea where the memories are, because we've been all over the place. I haven't seen anything. It's almost certainly not going to be over here because it's too close to the entrance. And usually they put it in near the back or in someplace else that's hard to see. Ah, here we go. And that's what we're looking for. So that is a memory of Vanessa's. And I think we're going to have to find several of these. I don't know if they're in different missions. Of course, the one blow I strike with Assassin's Strike missed, because wouldn't you know it? Of course. Alright, so we got a clue from the memory. And Vanessa's memory says, I saved all year for a trip to Venice. I thought it would be a wonderful experience, art, etc. I happened by a small antique shop, and that's where I found it, the mask. I can't wait to put it on. So this is her mask that she wears that I think turned her evil because there was a spirit in the mask. So let's talk to Harvey. And he says, we learned from your forays into the psychic plane, Tiger Shrike, that as recently as 1988, Vanessa was nothing more than a simple art student with barely enough cash for a trip to Venice. We've learned that the mask she wears is responsible for her rise to power, and we've also learned that this is somehow connected to the death of a woman named Giovanna Scaldi. You've got to learn more. So now we have to find another memory from Founders Falls. Or at least that's where the entrance to the psychic plane is located. So we're going to head to Steel Canyon and zap on the train, and then we will head over. By the way, I noticed last time after I stopped recording, we do have the ability to create a new recharge enhancer. I might do that. It's 430,000 XP, which is a little ridiculous, but it's a level 50 invention enhancer, and it's fine. And I might do that and put it, just stick it on Moment of Glory, not Moment of Glory, Revive, right? Because I didn't put any enhancers on that yet. I didn't buy an SO. I mean, I could buy an SO and just leave an SO on it. But I figured since I have the enhancer and I can craft it right now, I might do that. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. My hope is not to need revive more than maybe once a level anyway, so the recharge time on it won't... Certainly I won't need it over and over again, where because the recharge time on it is... where's the recharge? 5 minutes? I certainly shouldn't be dying every 5 minutes. I sure as heck shouldn't need to drop that to 2 minutes because I'm dying every 2 minutes. If that's happening, something is really wrong. If you're a Stalker, you should not be dying hardly at all. Certainly not every 2 minutes. I mean, you might need it within 2 minutes if you're fighting an arch-villain or something, but except for edge cases like that, you really shouldn't need it that fast. And we have Hasten, which will speed it up anyway. So I don't know that it's worth slotting it at all. Probably not. Alright, now we're going to a cave. We need to find another memory. Oh, and this is outdoors again. Okay. This is another huge zone. If I remember right, on this one, her memory was up somewhere on this level near some rocks, like this, and being trapped against the rock. Of course, I don't know if it's always in the same spot. I think it may be like they choose one of 3 or 4 spawn points randomly each time you enter the mission. I don't think it's always exactly the same place. So we're back to the beginning here. I feel like it was kind of over here, near one of these rocks, along the edge of the valley. And what I had done is gone over here, because this is the obvious place for her memory to be in a centrally located crypt, but it's not there. Sometimes there's stuff around this graveyard also. Let's take this guy out. You guys are, I'm sure, ready to see some combat? One shot. That's what I like to see. One-shotting a lieutenant. That's awesome. Should we kill her? We gotta wait till she becomes solid again, though. Now with build-up, that would have one-shotted her, but I just didn't feel like waiting for the build-up. This should kill her. There we go. So we just gotta keep going until we find the memory. Let's try down, I guess. Man, look at all these carnival. There are a lot of bad guys in this Outdoor mission. There's definitely nobody down here to free. And my memory is that what I had to do was just keep hitting tab target until I finally tab targeted the villains that had the memory trapped against the rocks. It was in a spot like this with two of them. But I have not seen a trapped memory at this point. Wait, there it is. Okay. So this is 1999, is it? Or 2000? So this is 2 years later. And it says, I put the mask on only once. And when I did, her mind flooded to mine. Her soul was stored within the mask, and her psychic powers nearly allowed her to obliterate me completely. If I hadn't fainted and dropped the mask from my face, that might have been the end of me. I packed the mask away and returned to Paragon City and haven't touched it since. That was in 2000. Now, I'm not sure in terms of the date on this. This is 4 years ago, quote unquote, to this character, or 5 years ago, because this arc, I believe, came out in 2004, 2005, something like that. While you were gone, I got on the horn to records keeper over in Venice. It's true, Giovanna Scoldi was Venetian. She died mysteriously in 1698 while awaiting execution for various crimes. According to what you have recovered from Vanessa's memories, it sounds like she didn't die after all. Somehow, she put her soul into that porcelain mask, and when Vanessa put it on 300 years later, Giovanna nearly killed her. So now we're going to have to go onto the psychic plane one more time and find out more. I feel like with this particular set of missions, it would have been better to have all the memories be on the psychic plane at once, and you'd find them one at a time. But I don't know how they could have done that, because you want to receive the parts in order, right? 98, then 2000, then 2005, or whatever it is. You want to receive the parts in order, and I don't know if they had any mechanism, as I've said, in the actual engine to like spawn an NPC that you need to complete the mission after something else happens, like a trigger, right? Because the idea would be after you find the 98 personality, then the 2000 personality would be findable and so forth. But they could have done this as an indoor mission, and then they would have been able to have like one memory on each level, you know. And there's another one. Wow, we found this one fast. 2002. So my guess is there's going to be one more, because I believe this was done in 2004 or 5. This story arc. Alright, because I think it's original to the first patch where they upped the levels to 50. Because this is the main Carnival story arc. Her next memory says, I didn't plan to put a mask on again, not ever, but then the Ricti came. I wanted to help fight them, and I knew that Giovanna had great psychic power, so I did it. I put the mask on, and I helped coordinate the soldiers in the battle against the Ricti. Under my mental control, they were much more effective. I don't regret it, not one bit. I have helped save the planet. But at what cost, Vanessa? At what cost? So, Vanessa put the mask on because she believed that it would help her defeat the Ricti, and it did, but at a price. She's been unable to separate herself from the soul of Giovanna Scoldi, who dwells within the mask. If this doesn't rate a cover story, I don't know what does. So bear with me, Tiger Shrike, I've got a theory. We know that Vanessa DeVore was just a humble student until she got mixed up with a mask containing the soul of Giovanna Scoldi. Well, what if we could defeat Giovanna Scoldi herself upon the psychic plane? Would Vanessa return to the way she used to be? It's a long shot, but I think it's worth it. I'd like you to take the mental monocle back to Penelope, and maybe she can figure out how to make Giovanna appear. So we're going to go back to Independence Port. And we will take this to Penelope Inn and see what she says. I like how quick super speed is. I just wish there were some better way with it to get up like that. You know, I wish you could just run up vertical surfaces. I wish they had simply put that into the game after all the super speeders complained. And I mean, they did have like 8 years to do it, and it would have been nice if you could have just run up surfaces so that you didn't have to take something like super jump or hover or flight or teleport in addition to super speed to get around all the nasty areas like the Shadow Shard that are clearly designed to make running around on the ground suck. I don't know. You know, the super speed the players who were using super speed early on used to complain that they thought that the developers like hated super speed and hated them. That's just silly paranoid ramblings. That's obviously not the case, but it's clear that the developers didn't see any need to help people with super speed to like run up to the top of the building or something by just running up its surface. They just make you take hover instead, which is out of theme for a lot of characters, and I guess they just didn't care. Alright, so she says, sure, I can mess around with the monocle, but are you sure you really want to face Giovanna Scaldi on the psychic plane? That's going to be really tough. Those immortals always are. So now we're going to defeat Giovanna and her defenses in Steel Canyon. So, don't ask me why. I go over the road when going from the train station to the hospital, but I go over the ditch here when going from the hospital to the train station. I have no idea why I do that. There is no good reason for it. I just kind of always did. And still do. Alright, let's see if we're in the north or the south of the zone. We may have to switch train stations. Again, as I've said before, you could do this in live, at least not in early live. Not the first couple years. Somebody was saying in the comments with teleport that you can, apparently there's now an area effect, not an area effect, what's the word for long range teleport, where I guess you click it and you get basically the dialogue box from the train station to go to any zone you want. That sounds really awesome. I don't think I'm going to get that for Nightmare Last, but we might if we have spare powers. I don't know if we will. I've never built a mastermind, so we'll just have to see. I do like that I have a name for her now. Alright, so we're going to defeat Giovanna and her defenses. So I guess we're just going to defeat everybody. Because my guess is this is, if not a defeat all, it's close to it. So we'll just kill our way into her and then kill our way back out if we need to. Look at that. She's just dead. One thing that is nice about Stalkers, and one of the reasons I took it back off of +3, is if you don't have things on +3, you can, in many cases, by the way, this fire doesn't do damage, does it? No. I wish it did. It would be more realistic. In many cases, if you're not on +3 and 4, and in particular if you're not fighting +4s, you can make it so really annoying nuisance enemies are just not nuisances because you've one-shotted them. Right, so that lieutenant would have turned on some kind of temporary invulnerability and been a pain in the neck, but because I took him out so fast, he never got a chance to turn it on. Right. So I'm guessing Giovanna's an elite boss. I don't remember, but that would make sense. She probably was an arch villain originally. So we're going to want to save our inspirations for when we get to her, and also save Moment of Glory and probably Instant Healing if we can. Now, we may not be able to, you know, we might get into trouble and have to use some of those. But if possible, I think we definitely want to save Instant Healing and Moment of Glory and as many inspirations as we possibly can. Is that her? No. Who's hitting me? Ah. I saw I was being targeted, but I couldn't figure out by whom. She must have been in the flames and smoke. Yeah, these guys are a real pain just because of the turning desolid. But they pose no real threat. Well, the ambient sounds in here are so good that I actually just pulled my headphones away because I thought I was hearing something in my house. I've said this before, they really did a nice job on the visuals and the sounds in this game. Especially for 2004 or 5, when they first built it. It was incredible when it first came out. And the other thing was, most other games, like, there were other games that had graphics that were similar to this, and but those were all like AAA games built by companies that had money, like Sony Online Entertainment with Star Wars Galaxies, or some of the other companies that World of Warcraft came out in 2005. I mean, these are games. I actually don't think those were as well done visually or in terms of sound as this game is, but they were close, and these are games with a lot of money behind them. City of Heroes really didn't have a lot of money behind it. It was like a mom and pop operation, and yet they came out with a game that in many ways is superior to the the other AAA titles. And there's Giovanna. So, we're going to need to depopulate the area so that these guys do not get involved in my battle with her. But this is a good time to find her. We have all of our inspirations. We have all of our click powers and stuff ready to go. So we'll just clean up over here. Because I'm sure even if this is not a defeat, all these guys that are this close to her are going to need to be taken out before it counts. Okay, let's do a pull there. Okay, that's what we wanted. We got the strongman to come too. Oh, good, and the other attendant or whatever she is came, Harlequin. Okay, she is an elite boss. So, we're going to want hasten. We're going to want instant healing. We're going to want 2 lux. We're going to want to do more damage. We absolutely want to one-shot this Harlequin and then placate her. Now, her problem is she is going to auto-hit us. If she's anything like Vanessa DeVore. So we got to watch the hit points very carefully, because they're going to drop. And we've got to make sure we've got them back. Sort of try to judiciously use our inspirations. I think we got her, guys. We still have a moment of glory left. That's what we're looking at. Got her. Alright, so now it's just cleanup. So we're going to start from here and work our way out. Oh, no, 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 interrupt. There's no point to attacking her while she's desolid. That's it. I love sneak attacking people. I'm gonna miss it, guys. Once we're a mastermind, there's really no good way to do that as a mastermind. We're gonna be swarming people with our evil demon horde, which eventually will equal 6 demons. Right? There's 3 minion level, 2 lieutenant level, and 1 boss level that you end up getting by the time you're in your upper 30s. I'm glad that's an interruptible attack, because this way when she goes desolid I can stop it. And this way I don't waste it. Yeah, so this almost certainly is a defeat all, right? Where it says, and her defenses. It's got to be... It probably means everybody, because we've gone really far from her now. So if it was just defeating the people near her, it would have probably tripped already. Now what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for her to go desolid and come back. Yep. Because I just knew if I tried to hit assassinate, she was going to go desolid right before I actually completed the animation. There we go. Wow, there's a lot of illusionists here. These guys are all +2s, which is what I've asked for. Oh, I didn't wait long enough before I moved. Let's get this seneschal. I still maintain, I know it would make the game tougher, I don't mind it being a little tougher, that these guys should hear the death scream of the carnies behind them and turn around. I mean, he heard it, but they did not hear the one over here that I killed. I mean, what part of the reason is that these guys were not part of her spawn, and so they will notice if you defeat somebody that's part of their spawn, but not always if you defeat somebody that's not part of their spawn. the inspiration tray. Assassinate this guy. Yep, this is clearly defeat all, right? Because, I mean, there's no way from here... Oh, maybe not. Maybe this is the one we have to defeat. No, that was nowhere near her. She was over here. So in a situation like this, guys, pretty much all you can do is just keep hitting tab target until, you know, it stops targeting them. Because it'll always find somebody if there's somebody within line of sight, like that. Look how far away that illusionist is, it still found her. One of the unfortunate things about them deciding to defeat everybody with a mission like this is it's really anticlimactic to be fighting minions after you've defeated an elite boss. If you could defeat Vanessa DeVore or Giovanna Scaldi, why would you be worried about fighting an Iron Strongman? Right, let's take to the air and just check this area before we leave it. Looks good. This is one of the cooler story arcs. I do like the story of Vanessa DeVore and how she got sort of trapped by the mask. It's interesting because as bad as she is, it really turns her into the victim rather than the villain, which is kind of interesting. You've been working against her for so long, and then you find out, well, yes, she's a villain. She does really unethical things, but she's also partially the victim. She didn't, like, go looking for an evil mask. She just bought a mask, and then when she put it on, she found herself being mind-controlled. Come on. There we go. I feel like I get the Steel Strongmen, which are lieutenants, closer to 0 on a single assassin shot that's not built up than I do with, like, the seneschals and illusionists. Maybe I'm wrong. But I feel like they have a smaller sliver of it, of life, you know, after a single shot without buildup. So like a regular assassin strike, I feel like the Seneschals and the illusionists have more hit points left after that than the steel strongmen, which seems wrong to me. It seems like the steel strongmen should have more because they're tough. All right, so he says, "You did it, Tiger Shrike. You did it. You defeated the soul of Giovanna Scully. I can't believe it, but it's true. With Giovanna gone, I truly believe the carnival will dissolve. Don't think so. We haven't got our reward merits yet." Right, so now he wants us to go to a warehouse and confirm that the carnival are truly defeated, which is not going to be what we're going to confirm because they're not fully done yet. But we've been at this for more than half an hour, so we're going to stop now. Until next time, I am Scarpalock, and this has been City of Heroes on the Rebirth server.